Welcome to the Pharmacy Leaders Podcast with your host, Tony Guerra. The Pharmacy Leaders Podcast is a member of the Pharmacy Podcast Network, with interviews and advice on building your professional network, brand, and a purposeful second income from students, residents, and innovative professionals.
Hey, welcome to the Pharmacy Leaders Podcast, Pharmacy News Sunday on March 18th, 2018. I'm still in Nashville. I'll be back tomorrow morning. But I wanted to talk a little bit about some things that are going on in the podcast and blogosphere. APhA was amazing, and I'll talk about some of the episodes that I had while I was here as well. So let's start off actually with the NAPLEX. I know many of you have forgotten a little bit about the NAPLEX, as you're going to find out your residency results here on Tuesday. But I just got an email from TLDR Pharmacy, and he has a 25% discount to TLDR readers on an upcoming online stats review. So if you are a TLDR Pharmacy subscriber, and it's free to subscribe, they have two reviews, and I think these are online stats reviews. First on Monday, April 9th from 6 to 10 Central Standard Time, and then a second review on Saturday, April 14th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. And they're going to be conducted by Dr. Busty, who created Pharmacology Weekly, which is no longer around, and a literature database called EBM Consult. He's the CEO of High Yield Med Reviews. He's a physician, pharmacist, and a nurse. And he's offering this discount through TLDR Pharmacy, but I think it ends before March 25th, so I just wanted to let you know more about that. Brandon's pretty receptive, so if you want to email him about that deal. Then thepharmacygirl.com, I follow her blog pretty regularly, and this blog, she had two posts, and I maybe have not kept up as good as I should have, but she has a post, the residency post, match day, kind of a flow chart, and it's what to do if you do or don't match. And we talked about it in a past episode, but remember, you're getting hired not as a student, but as an employee. So you're going to need to go through HR and a number of different things there. But also it tells you what to do if you didn't, and then find out if you want to start phase 2 of the match, or do you want to start a job search. And then what are the things you want to have ready for phase 2? You know, the CV, things you're looking for in a residency, letter writers, letters of intent, and so forth. But it's really a great graphic that she posted from it, and the timeline, I think, is March 23rd at 9 a.m. the applications open, then March 27th the rank lists open, April 5th rank lists are finalized, and then April 12th phase 2 results are released. So that timeline is ridiculously fast and coming up if you are in phase 2 of the match. And Mindy and I were in the scramble, so we were successful, and I want to give you some encouragement, even if you don't match in the first phase, to give it a shot in the second phase. The Pharmacy Podcast Network had 3 episodes this week. The financial guys from Waypoint Financial talked about a financial game plan. Then a couple of recaps from HIMSS with Todd Urey, and then South by Southwest with Aaron L. Albert, and it's pretty comprehensive. And then we go over the CDC guidelines on prescribing opioids for chronic pain in Thursday's edition of the Pharmacy Podcast Network. I'll talk about what I'm going to have coming up in a minute. But also, I got to connect with the Your Financial Pharmacist guys, the Tri-Tims, Tim Ulbrich, Tim Church, and Tim Baker. And those are great guys, and I got to participate in one of the roundtables, hearing about real estate and kind of some of the concerns that you guys have as far as buying a home, investing, paying off student loans. And my understanding is that they're going to have a couple of podcast episodes on buying a home. And that's something that I'm pretty familiar with. But it's tough right now because you're in a position where we have a seller's market. And that means that everything has to be ready. A contract that has, 20% down might beat a contract that has 10% down or 5% down. And so you really want to work with a real estate agent. That's just because you're good at pharmacy, I assure you, does not mean you're good at buying a home. I helped people buy and sell homes 300 or 400 times. And even with that, I always had something to learn, but I got really good at it. And the back of the house talk between the real estate agents, that's some of the most important things that a real estate agent can do. And I was extremely good at that. I was an advocate for for the people that I was working with and helping. And I was pretty aggressive in terms of making sure that they got what they were supposed to get, and then they got what they wanted. So I'm no longer in real estate, but I'm just advocating that if you're buying a home, don't do it alone. Find an agent that can help you, that can be a trusted advisor. So on the Pharmacy Leaders podcast this weekend, I went a little bit crazy and I got to sit down with a lot of people, and I don't normally know or meet the people that I interview. And this was the exact opposite. I got to sit down with each of them. So I wanted to talk a little bit about their episode, and maybe you'll pick one or two that you want to go back to. But the first episode that I had was with Carly Roberts, who won the Facebook contest. She got the most likes. I want to say it was like 700 or 800. I can't remember exactly, but she is really passionate about Generation RX because she had a friend who had an issue with addiction and unfortunately passed away. And that is episode 63. I interviewed James Kong of the University of Texas, Austin, who is the APhA ASP president at his chapter, and he talks a lot about how someone develops as a leader and what steps you would need to take if you do want a formal leadership position. Then Casey Rathburn at the University of Houston gave a great overview of kind of the initiatives that APhA or ASP has, and as an incoming APhA ASP president, you can hear what she had to say about developing and then working with others. Then I had a really great talk with 4 students from 3.5 students from the University of South Carolina. One kind of abstained. But Hannah Murray, P2, Meg Freiter, P3, and Chuck Hennis, P2, gave a great overview of a program there called the Walker Scholars at the University of South Carolina. And it's a very select group. It's just 10 of them. And you would think, gosh, why are you putting so many resources into a couple of people? And what it is that you select these people and then they bring that information to the rest of the group. But it's a really unique part of the University of South Carolina. And so many times students look at U.S. rankings or pick a school by location when really, again, just like with residency, just like with jobs, you're looking for a good fit. You're looking for the type of program that's going to help you achieve the kind of goals that you want, that fits and feels good. And they weren't all from South Carolina. So, again, maybe it is a better place out of state. Maybe it's a better place in state. I don't know. But that conversation, episode 66, was a great one. They all were articulate. They all have phenomenal stories. And one talked about IT, Chuck, and his involvement with that. Hannah talked about the opportunities that she had that were a bit unique to what she wanted to do. And then Meg is going back to my old hometown, Washington, D.C., with some phenomenal APPE rotations with Georgetown MedStar. And a lot of that maybe came from that leaders thing as well. So then I moved on to talk to Anthony DeAngelis III, University of Rhode Island College of Pharmacy, and really a great guy, articulate about why he's so passionate about URI, why he's so passionate about APhA, and you can see that he's well connected because he's volunteering and offering to help when help is needed. And really, sometimes it's just saying yes to a lot of things when you're first starting, and then as you go, you get to meet more people and you feel more comfortable around them, and then you're like, gosh, I'm in a room of people that I already know. And that's a little harder at the beginning, but I think that he really articulated the importance of being courageous and going out there and putting yourself out there. And then Laura Sosinski from Butler University, I got to talk to her as well, and she had a great kind of a stand on how, if you have kind of a niche interest, and hers was policy, how you can become a leader through your school, regardless of the size. I know Butler and Drake are both about 5,000, but the size of the school has very little to do with the impact that you can make. I've seen one person do amazing things, and that she's from Butler University, and I think you would really enjoy that as well. Coming up in the next week, we're going to have 3 episodes, as usual, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The first, we're going to have the pharmacy girl, Jackie Boyle, on Monday, will interview Deputy Network Director Carrie DeCourt, PharmD of the VA system. And you'll hear what it is to be a director of many, many people, many, many millions of dollars, and to understand how that leadership road went. Match day is Tuesday, so obviously a big day for pharmacy students who are applying for residency, but also you're going to find that, yay, you got into a residency, especially if it's out of state, and then, great, you take the NAPLEX, but you also take the MPJE, and I brought Brandon Dyson back in on Wednesday, so I'll give you a day on Tuesday to celebrate, and then on Wednesday you can figure out, oh my gosh, I'm going to a state where I have no idea what the laws are like, and I think I know what they're like, but I don't know exactly. And sometimes students overlook the MPJE as kind of it's just a law thing I have to do, when that actually is one of the more difficult tests. Because you already have what you think is the right answer in your state, and then you find out it's completely different in another state, and you have to put yourself in another person's shoes. And then the next episode on Friday, I'm interviewed Gary Keil, who is part of the Lead 360 team. The Pharmacy Leadership and Education Institute partnered with APhA to provide this leadership development. And I wanted to talk to him not only about Lead 360, but he's an expert in talking about pharmacy burnout. So I thought I got 3 great tips from him, and you'll hear from him on Friday. So again, signing off from Nashville, I always recommend that you do try to make a national meeting. You really make connections and kind of build not build your brand, but I just always get something out of going to a national meeting, and really enjoyed it, so I recommend it. So hopefully I'll see some of you in Seattle in 2019, March 2019. It was kind of cool. The last time we were at APhA with my wife was when my kids were in utero. So, she was pregnant then, and then, here we are, and they'll be 7 years old next Seattle. So pretty cool. Anyway, have a great weekend, and I will talk to you soon.
Support for this episode comes from the audiobook Memorizing Pharmacology, a relaxed approach. With over 9,000 sales in the United States, United Kingdom, and Australia, it's the go-to resource to ease the pharmacology challenge. Available on Audible, iTunes, and Amazon.com, in print, ebook, and audiobook. Thank you for listening to the Pharmacy Leaders Podcast with your host, Tony Guerra. Be sure to share the show with the hashtag #PharmacyLeaders.